For us, self-proclaimed technologically advanced creatures, humans of the past may seem incredibly primitive compared to us. An enormous technological gap almost distinguishes us as a new species in just a few hundred years was enough to make that happen. We think that because human curiosity has no boundaries and our intellectual progress has none either. The truth is, our promise is minuscule on a galactic scale. But how advanced could the human race become? And how long will it take to become super advanced to great cosmic void point, to a hyper-intelligent extraterrestrial life? And how far advanced would those alien civilizations be? Get ready to discover the answers to this and more. Welcome to the channel of Cloud Boss. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to stay notified whenever we upload new content. Oh, and of course, please like the video. It does help the channel. We've created the internet, landed on the moon, discovered the Higgs boson, and our spacecraft have entered into stellar space. It seems that in the past 100 years, we've accomplished more than we could ever think of, and it's difficult to imagine that we could go any further. But what if that is just the tip of an iceberg? What if all human progress is nothing but our own collective illusion? Over time, the Kardashev scale of civilization's technological advancement has expanded and narrowed. One of the ideas is that there are 4 levels of civilizations on the Kardashev scale. Type 1 civilization, or a planetary civilization, would be capable of harvesting all the energy resources available on its planet. Type 2 civilization, or a stellar civilization, would go further, being able to harness the energy of an entire star, basically allowing it to control a whole planetary system. A Type 3 civilization, or a galactic civilization, could utilize the energy resources of an entire galaxy, move planets, and feed black holes with stars. But even that's far from what a Type 4 civilization would be capable of, creating a universe itself. And according to this scale, we haven't even reached Type 1 civilization status, but we're not a Type 0 civilization anymore. So where does this leave us then? 0 on this scale signifies a specific amount of energy consumed by a civilization, which is roughly 1 megawatt of power. Currently, our average annual energy consumption is roughly 17.7 terawatt. And just a single terawatt is enough to power 10 million 100-watt light bulbs simultaneously. Human beings have a score of about 0.73 on the Kardashev scale. But how fast can we reach the milestone of Type 1 civilization? One famous theoretical physicist has estimated that if we increased energy consumption by 3% yearly, it would take 100 to 200 years to get there. As for now, about 1 billionth of our star's energy reaches, and we only use 1 millionth of that. Once we achieve this status, we'd be able to utilize all the sunlight, wind, and tides available to us. Weather conditions would be controlled by our will, and we'd be able to alter the course of earthquakes and volcanoes and make floating cities on the water. All this sounds like we have superpowers, but that's nothing compared to what civilizations of Type 2 is capable of. Also called a stellar civilization, it would go far beyond harnessing energy from its home planet. At this level, intellectual creatures could control their entire parent star's energy output. And there are several ways to do it. One idea is to use a megastructure called the Dyson Sphere. Its simplified version. A Dyson ring would consist of a bunch of solar power collectors, encircling a star, for example, about 160 million kilometers. And as this civilization continues to advance its technologies, it would add more rings around a star, each having its own orbit. Eventually, this megastructure, the size of our planet orbit around the Sun, would resemble some type of shell encompassing a star, blocking most of its light, but also collecting most of its energy. For us, the creation of such a technology would mean nearly the same as the invention of electricity. Star lifting is yet another method to steal some energy from a star. But how exactly does it work? A highly intelligent civilization, midway to Type 3 civilization, would possibly know how to siphon material from a star and put it into a spinning black hole ergosphere. The ergosphere is a region surrounding a black hole outside its inventor. Horizon and lots of fascinating phenomenon happen there. By sending material into this region around a black hole, you could get energy back out at much higher speeds. This is called the Penrose process. According to this, roughly 29% of the energy in a black hole could be extracted. But there is also a downside to this method. A black hole will start spinning slower and eventually it will stop. However, this also opens another possibility: harnessing Hawking radiation from evaporating black holes, which is far beyond our capabilities. However, it would hardly be rocket science for a Type 3 civilization. This galactic-level civilization would essentially use the same technology as a previous one. But at a much larger scale, we're talking galactic scales. Entire galaxies would be filled with Dyson spheres surrounding billions of stars. New planetary systems would be artificially made. Their supplies of energy would be infinite. They would practically become immortal. The only thing that would threaten their existence would be a sudden natural catastrophe, such as the massive explosion of a supernova. For humans, at least 100,000 years are needed to become as advanced. And it could even take 1 million years to become a Type 3 civilization if we ever survive long enough. But do such civilization exist? If so, such an intense technological activity would be easily observable in space according to NASA. We found about 4,000 planets outside our solar system in the past 2 decades, and in the Milky Way alone, there should be trillions of stars accompanied by planets. So, why have we not found any signs yet? This is called the Fermi Paradox, and it says that our universe is too old and too large for there not to even be a single other life, except for the ones here on Earth. Throughout decades, we haven't found anything like that, but we probably might not be looking hard enough. But if we look at the broader version of the Kardashev scale for Type 4, or even Type 5 civilization even, that wouldn't be something to worry about. These creatures could theoretically form a new universe. However, according to one physicist, the energy needed to give to a baby universe in a laboratory would require about 1,000 trillion degrees, which is far below the limit of such a civilization's capabilities. Although Type 4 civilization is hardly ever achievable, it would literally mean becoming the creators of everything we could ever observe, think, or imagine. Given how fast we evolve, and that even today the creation of effective tiny laser-propelled spacecraft are within our arm's reach, it could be true that we've already been visited in the past. And the odds of noticing their presence almost equal 0. Even now, we may be observed by a much more advanced civilization that is just waiting until we make enough progress to eventually get in contact, or maybe they've already decided to reach out, but it will take hundreds of thousands of years till they arrive here from another galaxy at the other corner of the universe. But even if we don't find anybody, it doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. Sure, we would feel lonely, and maybe even abandoned. But this would also mean that we have the chance to set the foundation for the future stages of human evolution. One day, those hyper-intelligent creatures somewhat resembling us in appearance could think of us as pioneers, explorers, blindly discovering this dark place who were put in as a child, discovered the world. Maybe it's all our imagination that makes us think they exist, and maybe they do, but it's not them. It's us, future us, superhuman beings. Want to learn more about the exciting discoveries in the cosmos on a regular basis? Then remember to subscribe to Cloud Boss and click on the bell to never miss one of our videos in the future. Feel free to show us with a thumbs up that we can keep you engaged with the content of our post. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.